How you doing, everyone? What I wanted to talk about today or this afternoon were watches that um, it just there are a lot of reasons not to want to watch of a certain brand or a certain type or a certain model of a brand. Um, oh, good. Thanks, Brian. And I was thinking, I mean, I've got a whole bunch of prejudices, and I'm sure everyone has heard the ones about my view of people who put our brands who put silicone in their hairsprings. But other than that, um, I'm pretty open to innovations and different things. I think there's probably just about any brand, if they did something really interesting, really worth looking at, I'd be interested in. But for the most part, there's certain brands I don't even bother with. So anyway, so let's hear what you have to say. Hi, Allie. How you doing? Goldfinger. How are you? Richard. Mark. Hi, Mark. I know Mark hates FP Journe, but other than that, he's pretty open minded about brands. Somebody, by the way, I was talking to someone at a meeting I was at, and they asked me I told them I collected watches and I was going to be gone. I was going to miss a meeting coming up because I'd be up in be gone. And she said, "Well, what brands do you like?" And the first one that came to mind was FP Journe, and it's true. I do like FP Journes. I I can't afford them anymore. Even if I saved, I couldn't. But I realized then that that's sort of a brand I like. Another brand, oddly enough, that I discovered that I really like are the Larique watches. We've run into some challenges, God knows we have, with them, but they're really nice. They really are. Once we get everything, not we do our job. It's just some other people are distracted. I'll put it that way. Uh, Dishonesty and specifications move. Oh, yeah. Brian, that's the main thing. These companies that don't are not forthcoming. I'm with you on that. There's some exceptions, I think. I forgive Chaumet for a lot of things. God knows they have some number or something, but I don't think I think with a brand like Chaumet, people figure, well, what they'll just hire somebody really good and they have no clue what's in their watches, but they'll tell you a lot about the way they're made. You're right, though. That's a good one. Hi, Allie. The watches that they're designed doesn't speak to me. Yeah, Allie, I think that's another one. There are some designs speak to me later on, but by and large, I can't see myself buying a watch that I know I'd never wear. I just wouldn't wear it. I don't like it for one reason or another. Um, so yeah, I understand that. I mean, if there's a design that just isn't for me, and I'm pretty open-minded about designs, but some I just don't like. The thing of it is that while I may not like it, I'm well aware that other people will. I know that I've liked the Yachtmaster 2 and the Air King of Rolex, and people like, you should like these other ones, but you like what you like. Hi, Velvia, man. Day date watches never, no matter the brand. You don't like day date. Let me see. Well, this doesn't have a day or date, but it does have whatever time zone is exactly 12 hours ahead of ours or behind, one of the two. My metropolitan 24 cities. Richard, not a fan of Omega. Something that turns me off them. What turns me off of Omega is simply they put in silicone hairsprings. I used to like the Seamaster, and from what I understand, they have a new Speedmaster moon watch that they redid, and they made it pretty close to the original. But they didn't. But then they put it in the silicon. I mean, why do that? Why not put a battery in it? I got my wall clock. It's got batteries galore sitting up there. Richard, you don't like Chopard, okay? I used to not like Chopard because a watch that I really liked. I like the looks of it, and they're Mila Migla. And I found out that it had an ETA movement. It was sort of like, what are you charging that much for a watch with a cheap movement, or an inexpensive movement? I'll put it that way. But you don't like it, you don't like it. Some of them I like, and then some others I don't. A brand that I like, but I can't think of too many watches that I'm really crazy about, is Girard-Perregaux. I've had watches with, in fact, I have some now with Girard-Perregaux movements, but most of the models of Girard-Perregaux I've never cared for. There's a difference between really not liking something about a brand, and there's something about, like I have with Girard-Perregaux. I really like the brand, but I just none of the watches are too appealing. I like the 1945 though. That's one of my favorite of them. Like a cheese parmigiani, Richard. If you're twisted by the name, that means you're twisted. My God, what are you? You don't like Italian names. Okay. Is there any watch that you like the movement, but you hate the design? Yeah, there are. Uh, just about all of the Roger Dubuis watches. I mean, great movements. I don't like the designs at all, where you can't, but the movements, my God, and their Geneva seal. Talk about a brand that just insists on making the same, but they must be doing okay. People who like that really like it like that, and that's fine. But like you say, that's a great example though of something you may like a part of it. There are a lot of watches I absolutely love the way they look, but I'm not too hot about the movement, like Baume Mercier. They have some of the coolest design, but I'm just not. But they have that Bombmatic that Val Fluye did for them. Don't I tell you, I can't. There's not a single one that I hate those guys. There's none like that. There's some I'm disappointed in, but that's my own. I mean, you're only disappointed if your expectations, I think, are too high. Hi, Conrad. How you doing? How are things in the UK? Velvium, Omegas of the present day are too thick. I prefer vintage. The thing I really like about Omegas are the coaxial escapements in them, and then they screw it up. Ah. A name that sounds like a cheese parmigiani? What cheese? What cheese parmigiani? Chopard? Sounds like cheese parmigiani? Don't know. Michael, how you doing? Hate waitlist and salesperson who think they're better than me with the cash. Uh to me, I agree with that 100%. Somebody treats you I don't like the watches or ADs that charge a so-called premium. Why don't they call it what it is? Price gouging. I don't like price gouging. That would put me off of any watch. Waiting list, it depends what I'm waiting for. There's some waiting list. For example, there's some really top watchmakers, and they don't even start making them until you order them. So I don't mind waiting list in that context. I don't like them in a where you have sort of superficial waiting list. Um, there have been some waiting lists. I know Parmigiani, for the first time I think ever, had some waiting lists not long ago, but they ran out of watches. They don't make that many. H. Moser only makes around 3,000 a year, I think. Beauvais only makes about 1,000. Both of those companies have two things I really, really like in every watch company. One is that they have a range. In other words, they have something sort of down here, like under 20,000, that's relatively affordable. Uh, and then, of course, they got some super stuff at the top. But what they also have, I think that's really neat, they have their own sort of subgroup that's a watchmaker. Beauvais has Demier, and H. Moser has precision engineering, and now they have Agenor. So I like companies that do that. Um, that's one of the things I liked about Chanel. Ever since Chanel bought a hunk of Romain Gauthier, and then they started their own movement company in La Chaux-de-Fonds, where no small coincidence. That's also, I think, where Romain Gauthier's works out of. So those are the things that show serious interest in two sides, the two elements of a watch. One element is the movement, and the other is sort of the presentation of the watch. This is the case, the dial, the hands, um, those things. Mark, it should be illegal for a man to own a smartwatch. Yeah, I tell you. Yeah. Uh, I, I I don't know if watch collectors like us, Mark, are the brightest people in the world. Maybe that's why we don't buy smartwatches. The way we blow our money. Uh, but I don't know. I tell you, Swatch, after they got Swatch of all the brands, just and by Swatch, I don't mean everything they own. I'm not talking about the Swatch group, but just the Swatch brand itself really was hit hard by the popularity of Apple watches. Everybody wanted an Apple watch, and boy, they just cut right into a Swatch. I think people actually bought Swatches so they'd have time on their wrist. Look out. You and the mice, Allie. Conrad, dark and cold, but wearing my newly acquired Bulova 19. Oh, you got a 1931? A 1931 Charles. First American watch. A Bulova 1931 Charles. That one I don't know. That sounds really interesting. Oh, a Bulova. I was thinking Beauvais. Yeah. Yeah, that is an interesting one. Fake waiting list. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. I think Richard's talking about Parmesan cheese equal Parmesan. Come on, man. That's not only is that a bad dad's joke. I've heard Archie thinks, he can't, he thinks it must be awful. If you don't like Parmigiani Fleurier watches, that's okay. But not, just really like, oh, tell me some more dad jokes. I have a Parmigiani Metrograph and a Hebdo Madari. Love them both. I've got a Hebdo Madari now. My Ovale's got a Hebdo Madari and telescopic hands. Yeah, Metrograph is one of the. Yeah, you get it instead of a luxury chronograph for a great price. At least Brian did. They seemed to prices actually got up of those things. Velvia, man, I love cheese. Oh boy. Okay. 24 months matured Canadian unpasteurized is my favorite. Since Brexit, it has disappeared. No, I don't understand either. Here's a dad joke. Okay. That's my guilty pleasure. There's this I watch looking at videos on on YouTube, and they have this dad jokes, and I'm not stop and listen to them. I think they're great. What do you call an army of babies? Infantry. Yeah, that's Jesus. Oh, there ought to be a law against dad jokes. Oh, Vale, yeah, I agree, Brian. That is a watch I have waited a long time. When a watch comes out, the first one was $110,000. The second one is $55,000. I figured there's a watch I'll like for a long time, but never have. And quite by accident, I mentioned it to a guy who was a dealer, and I said, if you ever get one of these for what I could afford, and I named him a price. And the next thing I knew, I got a thing back. He said, yeah, I guess the guy needed money. Sometimes you can really luck out that way. If somebody really needs a dough, yeah, then you can do pretty well. Oh man. Okay, let's talk about watches we don't want to have. We wouldn't want to wear. I'll tell you one. I still understand it. This is a watch that makes absolutely no sense. Starting with the name Dandy Artie. Come on. What a name for Dandy Artie. Having the crown here almost impossible to wind and set. And then when the hands are over at 3:00, you can't see them. I mean, love this watch. So, and then it has this slowly turning Ferris wheel that just smoothly turns that you can see. And that is because of two nice big Agonese gears. So, it's so well made. I guess that's another thing I like about it. And who has got a patent leather strap with a silk stripe on it? Only a dandy, I guess. Love this watch. Drives me crazy every time I wear it, but I don't care. Before Euro Valley, the least expensive was $3,400 at the watch outlet. Yeah, 34,000. Yeah, that was the best price I'd ever seen too. And all of a sudden, one that was a little more than I could afford. And I got lucky. I got hugely lucky on that Moritz Grossman. That was just pure dumb luck. But I'll tell you, for all of us, this goes for everybody. The more you know, some people can see a deal and not realize it. And that's why, if you know what's what, prices, quality, this, that, and the other thing, you got some, what I'll call pouncing money. And pouncing money is you keep a little aside in case some ridiculously good deal comes along and you're ready to pounce on it. That's a new term. Hey, Forbin, how you doing? A day that will live in infamy from a part Popeye cartoon. Agony gears, agonize gears, Agenese. It's French. Drinking early, huh? Oh, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Hey, Von Cruel, how you doing? Oh, I've been staring at mine all day. Yes, and knowledge is what I want to slowly accumulate knowledge. Oh, I get it. Okay, so I can stop those deals, stop those deals. Okay. All right, Forbin, can you opine on Marissa Grossman versus Urban Jurgensen? Which do you prefer and why? Whoa, I like them both about the same. So I couldn't really say I prefer one over the other. Um, they're both, again, this was another situation where they're both really expensive. I couldn't afford either one. The Urban Jurgensen was part of the deal that they made when they sold everything to Boot and Lannon, to that group. And so they had them available for close to half price. And that was when I was able to get mine. And the other one was simply the the other one. I just bumped into it. I would just, how you go snooping around in Chrono 24, and every now and then you'll say, "Oh, you see something there." And right now on High Horology Lounge, I hope I'm going to have some more watch money. I'm reducing by 2 watches, so I think I can get one, and actually reducing by 3. And so I figure I can get one. And I was looking at 6 different, I think it was 5 or 6 different ones. Every time I had my idea, one was a Roger Dubuis something. Forgot. It's got this long French name that I don't want to wreck too much. The other one was a 54 5124 Patek Philippe. Another one was the Papillon, Roth Papillon. Another was the Quadrille Vacheron Constantin. Those are all the ones I've been thinking about. And also the Arm & Strom, I think the one I saw that was sort of in a range that I could afford was it's called Water. He has air, water, and earth. That was one thing, but I really like his stuff too. So those are the ones that I will think about, and I will no doubt add to that list as I go on. But I don't even have any pouncing money. I got hornswoggled left, right, in the center. I didn't get hornswoggled. I just got these 2 watches that sort of took all of the watch money away from it. I will never buy a spring drive, I think, however much of a Seiko fan I am. Yeah, you got some things like that. Apparently, they had some problems I had heard about. I can't remember who, but someone saw the Grossman and didn't jump on it. Yeah, who was that? So in this, there are sharks out there, Brian. Yeah, there are barracudas too. Richard, MG watches are amazing. Yeah, their pricing structure puts. I know, God, their pricing structure is really crazy. I'm trying to put a deal together with Kath, was that Kathleen Hutter, um, on a Hammermatic or a set of Hammermatics. Maybe we can get some of those at a good price, if possible. Who knows? Where's Rancher? Living in a van down by the river. Yeah, he's giving inspirational talks to watch collectors. Okay, what's the exciting new watch company, Van Krugel? Roth Papillon, yeah. Those things, they used to, God, they were really inexpensive at one time, not long ago. God, I wish I'd got one then. Of course, that's true. I would have probably bought another FP Journe resonance had I known what I know now. Even the one that they were smuggling with airline stewardesses. Von Cruel, I'm the same pattern. So one or two or even three, then I can buy one. It's just that I'm doing it with much cheaper watches. Yeah, well, you know. Christine, thanks, Richard. Yeah, I know it's one of those. I'm going to see her. God, I'll be next Friday. I'll be running into her, talking to her. She's really cool. Hutter, yeah, I know the last name. Forbin, have you ever bought a Microbrand watch, not including the Seagull? Nothing micro about a Seagull. They probably make more watch movements than anybody else in the world. I bought a Microbrand. That's a good question, and I don't think I have. The ones I make myself they're sort of not even Microbrands, and I don't think Larique is a Microbrand. We're sort of something else. We're a cooperative, exceptional horology group. How's that for a name? I don't know. How about you guys? Have you ever, I've seen some Microbrand watches. In fact, there's some right now in a GPHG that I really like. Babot, something like that. Underdog, I like theirs. There's some there that'd be fun, but you look at those things, you say, oh, they're only $500 or $600 or something like that. For any other purchase, that's a lot of money, but for a watch, hey, that's a good deal. That's chump change. Good God, I tell you, we've all become insane financially. LLC, the best in the world is LLC. Okay. Not sure what that is though, because that's sort of a limited corporation. My first titanium watch was a Boulder field watch. Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think. I don't think I have any. I don't think I have any Microbrands. Yeah, Microbrand watches and crowd-funded watches. Some of the thing that H. Moser did with Underdog was crazy. Here you have an affordable watch in Underdog, and then they put these two two watches. Both of them are great. And then they charge 60,000. Well, Underdog fans can't charge 60,000. In fact, a lot of H. Moser fans can't afford 60,000. Wasn't the name of the company that made Trump's the best watches? Oh God, good God, those are awful. Those are really awful watches. I mean, they're tacky, they're blingy, and they've got cheap movements. That Tourbillon is, what's his name? Mosso. Tim Mosso was talking about him, and he traced him back to this company. All he had to do is take one more step back, and the company that had made the tourbillons got a lot of the stuff that they made it with from China. I've got my own tourbillon that I made for $120, I think, from the same source. Oh, it's called Best Watches on Earth. Okay. Yeah, the LLC is simply like an incorporated term, like an INC or SA in Europe, something like that. SAR, that's another one they use. Again, there's something horribly tacky about those watches. Just that's the only thing I can say. You can't get much tackier than that. I've even heard watch collectors who are Trump fans say those are awful. So, yeah, it's sort of like he had some other ones he did. I think he actually, before he got into politics, he just likes to have things with his name on them. But God, awful. They're terrible. Oh, hang on a second. Okay, so there's a watch I'd never buy. I don't care who did it. Political watches I'm not a fan of. I don't trust any company with the best in its name. I wouldn't either. I mean, that's like I don't. I wouldn't trust anybody who advertises themselves as honest. that's sort of a warning sign. Oh, the sneakers, gold sneakers. Tacky merchandise doesn't belong on either political party. I saw these coins that for the Harris campaign, and I just thought, what are they doing that for? You don't need that. What they both need to do is talk about their policies and how they're going to do it and stuff, and how they're going to keep the price of importing watches low. Yeah, that's exactly what they were. Yeah, $1,500. It's $1,500 to a sucker, I think. Mine was I got the same source, the same basic source was $100. 1,500. Yeah, I know Massa was going on about the price. I don't know. I think I'm not sure what a gold case cost, but I'm pretty good idea of what the other costs were. And I don't think they were quite as high as he thought they were. I mean, it was 8,000. The big thing, I think the most expensive thing was the gold. Those diamonds, you know, they were probably done with the same factory that makes the diamonds, the jewels for the watches, for the movement. I don't know. Junk is junk. It doesn't matter. Your favorite person on ever could do it, and there's still junk. I should start selling my handmade watches. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. This is, oh yeah, I think this is the one that we were, here it is. Keeps perfect time, and I'm going to replace, and it's upside down. Now it's right side up. Ta-da. Why would I want to sell it? I, I like making them. My grandson had one I made, was in the mall. He had this big old watch that I made him. It was about this size. He's wearing a sucker, and he looked at his watch. He said, that stuff is junk. Here's a real watch." It was like, shit. I got everything from AliExpress. Okay, how we doing? Oh, hi, Timmy. Oh, I'm so glad you could make it. I know it's early tomorrow there. It's Sunday. Happy Sunday. Am I right? Because we're still on Saturday here. Glad you could make it. Unfortunately, I'm sort of over my time right now, and I need to kick out, as I said, as we used to say back in the day when I was a surfer. Oh, let me tell you. Okay, here's how to do it. All right. Hi, Mim. Here is a trick. Okay, this is a watchmaking trick. Put on my. All right. Here I found out was where the trick is. Okay. Usually we use a loop for looking at trying to put the different things on. This is a little stick called not a pin rod, but anyway, this little stick. Okay. And this is Rodico putty. You put on the other, a peg. Yeah, that's it. Peg. Something. Yeah, peg. There's another name for but a pegwood. That's it, Von Curl. The pegwood stick. And so what you do is that you hold this up, and you take it with your tweezers. You very carefully set the second hand on with the I guess you'd call the sleeve pointing upwards, and so you have it at a right angle. And so then when you go in, and then of course you have your loop on when you're putting the second hand on the shaft. And but it really helped. It's such a simple thing. Normally what I do, I'm poking around trying to catch it, and then however it ends up on the Rodico putty is the way it ends up. But I found out if I carefully put it on and had the sleeve pointing right down, and then went right down into the shaft, and with of course having your loop on, so you could also see the shaft on the second shaft. It's not easy. I mean, there's no two ways about it. But that worked really well. The trick is that then you got the second hand stuck in the putty. All right, so you have to put it on just so, and then once you get it on there, very gently you take the two sides of the tweezers and then push it down onto it, and then you can bring your hand tool on it, or once you get it set, you just tap it in there a little. What another thing I found, and this may sound really, this is a hammer. I use my hammer with it, It's got like a mallet end of rubber, and then it's got a steel end. What I found was that, um, there's a certain point you press on it and you press on it, and then it's in, but it's not quite in all the way, and you want it to go all the way down, so when your hour hand comes around, it doesn't run into it. And so this little jeweler's hammer, take the old sucker and tap, 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 or use the mallet in really, or put a piece of plastic over it and then tap, tap, tap on it. But that gets that gets it on perfectly. That was how I did the one I just showed you. I got it on the first time I tried. That's never happened before. It's usually about 4 or 5 times, you know. Then anyway, so Brian, go get it. That's go get them. Are you still a surfer, but surfing on cash? I don't surf on cash. Thank God. That would be that would be about the same kind of waves that we get in the pond in the back. Nothing. Secondhand and murder, yeah. Like landing on a pinpoint. You're exactly right. But I don't know, you get it's sort of a fun thing to practice. Hi, Anthony. What's your opinion of Carl F. Buchanan watches? You know, I think they would probably be higher if I knew more of how they use THA. They bought THA, and I'm wondering if they employed or they incorporated as how much watchmaking skill THA brought with them. I mean, it was started by F.P. Jorn and V.N.E. Halter and these all of these greats, but then they kept passing it on. So that's sort of, they Carl Butcher may be one of the really top watches that people overlook. Oh, Timmy, you got some. 6:30 a.m. there. Oh, yeah. Well, it's 4:40, so it's sort of still not too late afternoon. Do you have any tips for finding the four? No, no. You could make in this one watchmaking course I took. They showed you how to make a magnet broom, and you take all of these magnets and you put them on a piece of wood, and they have a stick, and then you go through, try to find it in a rug or God knows where they go. They go to places. If they land on my desk, they're history. I mean, my desk is such a mess. It gets cleaned up every now and then, but I'm always working on something. Anyway, oh, that's not a bad idea. A pencil eraser for me is a little soft for them, but yeah, I mean, there's some that are harder than others, but that's another good idea. Von Crew, I find the secondhand relatively easy now. I move it to a position with Rodico, then use the pegwood to hold it in place on the post while taking away. Yeah, that's you got to have. Sometimes you get it on the post and everything, but the Rodico doesn't let go, and that's sort of the tricky part. And that's why you just put it on the Rodico so it holds on to it, but not too much. Another thing too, taking hands off. Um, those little things that they sell, the little pieces of plastic, and they have a V on it, and you're supposed to put your hand remover on top of it so you don't scratch it. You can make them out of paper or you can cut a piece of plastic, but they sell those things. We're crazy. Has a clear anvils, which is I use a Swiffer with a dry cloth drag that around, then carefully inspect. Yeah, no kidding. Okay, Timmy, let's see what you get. Okay, we will have a lovely evening. Have a great day. Timmy's going to tell us what Sunday's like because he's there ahead of us. Hope it's a good one. Hey, guys. Yeah, take care. Hasta mañana for some of you guys. Anyway, thanks a lot. Loved your talks today. Yeah.